Hi, welcome to the Fashion Open House. My name is Thomas Tan. I'm a full-time trainer here at TFTC. I was trained in locally as a fashion designer. After that, I worked for a local brand. And after a few years, I went to work for a factory. So working for a factory, I get to travel to various different production places to really let me understand how clothes are being made. And also I get to travel to Europe and US to work with designers and buyers. So I really got to know the process of mass production that happens at the back. So with me is Doreen.
I have been in this industry for over 3 decades. I used to work in the international buying office, so I travel a lot all around the world. So I think that it's very interesting to see how our industry works in different countries, from the fibers to the textile mills, to the garment manufacturers, and of course to the retailer. I love this industry because I think we make an impact. Just for example, like Cambodia, when I first went in there, they were just garment manufacturing ground. Today you go to Cambodia, you actually see malls, you see shops, beautiful hotels. So the industry actually is one of the frontier that allows the country to get developed very quickly. Some people think that the fashion industry is only about production. Some people think that it's just fashion. But I see it as an industry by itself with technology, with manufacturing, with marketing, with digital marketing. So it's actually a very, very interesting industry.
So our diploma program, especially for the ADPD, would be around 4 months, right?
Yes,
I think with FB it's also the same.
Yep.
But generally FB would be
Slightly shorter?
Slightly shorter, yes.
Yep.
So I think in terms of hours wise, I think for ADPD we are talking about 450 hours or so.
Oh, I mean the ADPD is actually 500.
Oh, 500,
hours.
that's right, sorry. So why do we want to learn about the apparel and product development side of it? The reason is because it is an opportunity to learn how to identify markets and opportunities to create trendy products. Also, we actually have a lot of hands-on experiences, meaning that you'll actually be doing sewing, you'll be doing drawing, a lot of hands-on activities versus what you get from pretty much maybe traditional education where it's more theory-based and all that. We have a good mix of both, and of course acquire the know-how to actually test and modify the product for production. The main thing is about the aspect of production, which we tend to focus on a lot more.
Yeah.
So I think when you take up the diploma courses, whether you are in fashion business or in apparel design, we cover 9 common modules.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think both modules cover is the textiles. Yes, textiles is very, very important. So I always tell students that to learn textiles in our industry is like if you want to be an English teacher and you have to learn your alphabets. That's how basic it is. All right. That is going to be probably one of your highest costs when it comes to creating a garment. A huge part of it is
60 to 70% of the FOB, the cost, is on fabric.
It's on fabrics.
Yeah.
So you have to know how your fabrics are made. What is the content of your fabric? Where does it come from? How is it being grown or created in the lab, right? How to identify them, how they are being knitted or woven. So of course, analyze garment construction, really understand how garments are being made in the mass production aspect. The reason is obviously because there is a couture way of doing clothes, all right? But that is more refined and more expensive and time consuming. Obviously in our mass production way, because time is money, we want to make sure that you achieve it in a very efficient yet at a quality that is acceptable at the price that you're going to pay for.
Doesn't mean that if you do mass production, the quality is less. Because even though the couture would have like a lot of hand finishing and all that, but some of the equipment that's used by mass production in terms of, let's say for example, the welt pocket, the whole automation is almost perfect finishing. So I would say that the garment construction actually allows you to look into detail how to finish a seam, how to finish, what kind of stitch to use. And I really find that very, very important, especially, I mean, just for example, Uniqlo, it might be a mass-produced brand, but if you look at the finishing, it's really good.
So this particular module really teaches you about the different kinds of seam and stitches. So as a designer, how you produce clothes is also the process of designing. How you want certain seams to be created and what kind of stitches you want. It is a process of designing as well, because it changes the look.
Yeah, I also design a kind of quality into the product.
Yeah. Then of course we move on, as many of the designers or rather our students, many of them are budding entrepreneurs. So actually one of the things that we really talked about is to create and manage fashion brands. Alright, so if you are in the process of creating your own brand or have thought about creating your own brand, how do you go about understanding your target market? How to really understand your unique selling point? What's so special about the product that you're selling? And of course, if you're part of the apparel product development class, drafting and sewing is a huge part of your life, all right? So we do have modules like apparel pattern and sew tops, apparel pattern and sew bottoms. So we broke it up into 2 different modules because the way that it's constructed is actually quite different. As a designer, I also believe that drafting and sewing is part of design. I've gone to factories, I've seen blog shop people, when they send clothes to the factory and the sample maker will be, how do you want to do this? The owner always say, I'm not too sure, you decide. So what they're doing is actually relinquishing a lot of the design work because there are ways to create certain things that changes the look of a garment.
Yeah.
So if you do that, then you are letting go of that designing power to someone who may not know design. Also, with drafting, we also talk about draping as well. So draping, again, we covered that because fabrics that we see in the markets are actually knits. I'm sure many of you own knits, especially women consumers, because a lot of women, from what I know, is that they don't like to iron clothes, right? So when they see that it's ironed, I don't want to really, so they tend to buy knits, which is more, user-friendly. So with that, we really need to understand how fabric will drape. And now with certain brands like Zara, up to the market fashion brands, right? Draping elements and all that becomes an important element. So that's why we built this into our modules. Another important element is to really understand how to fit your garment and what are the problems with fitting and how to do those alterations. So really looking at the variety of body shapes that obviously our students are in because you wear your own clothes, right, as your own model. So you really understand how to understand body morphologies, how to really see the fit that you want and how to make those changes. The next one we'll talk about is actually virtual fitting as well. So we talk about actual drafting and sewing, but actually now we're going to move on to something that is virtual. So in this particular course in TAFTC, we are actually using Clo 3D. It's one of the most innovative things we've seen in fashion for maybe about the past 10 years or so. All right. So what you'll be learning is how to sew and fit a virtual garment. All right, so you'll be creating an avatar. On a virtual model. So you'll be creating an avatar, and then how do you fit it and how to read those information of the fitting.
Yep.
All right, it's actually quite an amazing software, but having said that, obviously with new technology, it saves you on cost, it saves you on the need, it saves you time. And of course, for our product development module, the finale module will be the develop design collection. You have to know about sourcing and fabrics and drafting and sewing and all that, and you tie everything together in a project. So now we're going to move on to the fashion business side of it. So Doreen will talk a little bit more about the fashion business modules. So I think in terms of hours wise, well, the FB is about 400 over hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the diploma in fashion business. You talk about textiles, same for merchandisers, you need to know textiles. We basically will go through this interpret pattern draft, which is actually sewing up a t-shirt and a shorts. The whole objective is not to ask you to sew up a nice t-shirt and shorts. The whole objective is for you to understand how apparel production is being done. The other one is draw digital image. So instead of drawing with the pen and paper, right now we can draw pictures using the CAD software. So we are using the Adobe Illustrator together with Photoshop, I believe.
Yep.
This one is so important. Manage quality assurance. I think most of the students find this most challenging topic because you never look at fabric that way. I work with United Nations, right? So when I talked to the tech person and I said this fabric is rejected. He was like, why is it rejected? I said, there you go, you can't see the slabs there. And it's like, where? I was like, to me it's so obvious, but to the non-expert, they will find it, where is the slab? So it really helps you to really scrutinize your material, your stitch, your seam. We refer to this module, source for supplies and production. Well, as any startup entrepreneur, you have to source for materials, you have to source for garment manufacturers to produce your small quantities. However, in our program on source for supplies and production, we're looking at not only where to source, but how to source, how to evaluate suppliers that you think that can live with you as you grow bigger and bigger. All right, not only looking at price, not looking at MOQ, which is minimum order quantity, not only looking at lead time, but whether this supplier has the ability to produce good quality, has the ability to be a partner with you. We're also talking about not pricing, but rather whether they give you any credit terms and so forth. All right. So that's something that we will cover in this module called Source for Supplies and Production. And this module, my favorite, Calculate Cost of Materials and Apparel. This module is actually very well liked by many entrepreneurs. Even garment factory owners will actually ask us about this because this module covers standard allowed minutes or standard minute value. So it not only cover how to calculate fabric consumption and then how to calculate fabric cost, but it also teach you how to calculate labor cost. All right, from the time how much time is taken for cutting and for sewing and for packing. So we really work down all the way to cost per minute, and it is how the industry works scientifically. This is my favorite, managed sustainable fashion value chain. I would say, I think by now most of us know that fashion is actually the second most detrimental to environment industry. We produce a lot of waste. Even in dyeing, we produce our wastewater. In cutting process, we produce a lot of waste fabric. And then people buy and throw away fashion, and that produces a lot of waste as well.
And if they don't sell the garments, it's
and
a
then
lot of waste.
they might burn it.
They might burn it,
especially on brands, they actually burn it. I think now they are clamping down on that because that's also very wasteful and
highly
bad
wasteful,
for environment.
yes.
Yeah. And then we have all these e-fashion business related courses. So there's a course that teaches you how to use Shopify to create an online e-commerce website. There's another course on social media marketing, teaching you how to use Facebook, Google Ads, and then we have inbound marketing, which is many people may or may not have heard. It's called CRM, a customer relationship management tool. The most famous one, of course, you got Salesforce and HubSpot, but we start with a simple one like MailChimp, which is free. So that's something that I think you can keep in touch with your existing customer with some kind of marketing campaign tools such as MailChimp. Paid search engine optimization, SEM, is also very important, where you can put out paid Google ads. And how do you manage that? Then you have SEO, search engine optimization, where your website needs to be SEO optimized or rather search engine optimized so that people can find you. And I think all these modules are just, I would say these are basics that you should know. I think one thing good about being a TFTC graduate is that there's also another platform called the Label SG that our diploma graduates can go on board because I know that to set up a website and to bring traffic to your site is going to be very difficult. The Label SG somehow has been around for, how many months is that? 9 months? And we are still able to attract people coming to our site. And I think one of the things that we have worked very hard over the last 2 years is on accreditation with other universities. Louise Clermont, who is our colleague in France, she will actually be able to give you more information about accreditations.
Because many students always say that, so what happens after I graduate from FTC? So we do have work with other institutions overseas where you can take your degree program and other something that kind of bring you further to where your dreams will take you.
Besides going to further education, you can also work, start your own label, do many things. I think the fashion industry has an endless, bountiless opportunities. It depends on how far you dare to bring.
I think there are many channels after graduating at FTC, considering like, for example, for the Label SG, you can set up your brand. If you want to take your course further, you can do your accreditation. If you want to work for a company, we have the PCP program and all that kind of stuff. So there are many channels of what you want your fashion future will be. All right.
And right now, I would say that I'm seeing a lot renewed interest of the fashion industry in Singapore because many of the big brands are coming to Singapore to set their regional HQ, and I see that there will be a lot more buzz going on. So I feel that the future would be digital because we don't have anything, so let's make something out of nothing, which is digitalization, seriously.
So if doing this particular diploma, these two, whether is it ADPD or apparel design and product development
or
fashion business, so you can contact the salesperson Meng Qian to find out more about this module. So see you around. Thank you.